Welcome back everybody to Anbennar, a fantasy total conversion mod for Europa Universalis 4. If I sound a little bit different today, that's because I'm a little bit under the weather and that might be affecting my voice. The mod has become a bit of a staple on the channel lately, but in case you're new here, first of all, I should go ahead and subscribe because we're trying to get to 75,000 by the end of the year. And also, I'll still give you a quick rundown. The world of Anbennar is very Dungeons and Dragons inspired, so you might find yourself familiar with a couple of basic concepts like the idea of magic existing in the world, as well as a ton of different fantasy races like dwarves, elves, goblins, etc. The main theme behind this series of videos is me trying to cover each of those fantasy races, each of the ones that are playable at least, most of which we have actually covered, so you have quite a lot of stuff to watch after this if you haven't already. It's also why today we'll be playing as the one and only troll nation in the mod. That being up here in a little place called Obrtrol. I know I said there's only one troll tag. There might actually be a second one that I think exists in Sarhal now that does not yet have content, but I might revisit them at some point. Trolls are a little bit odd though, because they're not really that well organized. There's a reason why there are so few troll tags that you can actually play, and that's because most trolls kind of roam in packs and bands, kind of just going place to place. They don't really have like a formal societal structure, not even in the form of like tribes. That's what makes us unique, because Obrtrol is actually organized into some kind of a chiefdom. Trolls kind of operate on a might makes right principle. Whoever's the strongest kind of deserves to have the most power, but maybe if we put in enough work, we can turn the trolls into a fully advanced society capable of harnessing technology and magic to expand their state, which is a little bit difficult to do because trolls are naturally a little bit stupider than the other Anbennar races. And this is reflected in our modifiers. We have reduced improved relations, reduced administrative efficiency, increased construction cost, increased technology cost, and increased institution embracement cost. But we do have some advantages. We get fort maintenance reduction, double power projection from insults, for whatever reason, 15% national tax modifier, maybe we scare the taxes out of people, I don't know, increased provincial trade power modifier, and reduced harsh treatment cost. Our military changes are going to be interesting to play around, because units take twice as long to recruit. We have a 30% smaller land force limit, half-sized naval force limit, reduced manpower, increased infantry cost, increased global ship cost, and increased ship recruitment speed. So our army cannot be very large, at least at the start, but as a trade-off, we have 25% increased shock damage, 5% increased morale damage, minus 10% fire damage received, minus 20% shock damage received, increased reinforce speed, and increased army morale recovery, as well as increased damage to garrisons and additional fort defense. So while our military is quite small, it can still be very effective. Our religion is the Mountain Watchers. The trolls believe they were left behind by the true giants to guard this region, and to keep any trespassers from breaching into the lands north of our territory, where they might disturb the Titans. Are the Titans real? Who knows? Are the giants real? Well, yes, according to the Anbennar lore, there used to be an age of giants. This region had a lot of influence from the giants. In fact, one of the previous countries we played, Myrma, has a little bit of influence from the giants as well. So we can pretty much confirm that the giants are real. Did they actually leave us behind to guard the area? It's up to interpretation. It does give us increased fort defense, movement speed, and attrition for enemies, while also using the Coptic system from base game, where we have our holy sites. We need to go and collect all of them, which gives us more bonuses. We do start with one, so we might as well pick our first bonus. These are rather nice bonuses. We'll start with the core creation cost, and then the next one should probably be missionary strength. We do have a few estates, the mages and the monstrous tribes. We will of course see some land back, then hand out whatever makes them happy. The mission tree is very funny the way that it's written. It is from the perspective of the trolls, so the language is very simple. The leader of the trolls says that the trolls are meant to rule the north, that the humans are trying to take it from us, and the humans are weak, but they are many, meaning the trolls must band together and make war on the humans. Everyone's in agreement, so the trolls are ready to strike. For 15 years, we get increased morale of armies and navies, plus 2 land force limit, plus 5% siege ability, and minus 15% province war score cost. We also get a couple of permaclaims and a fairly decent general. I will also pick up a mercenary company for this war. We do also have our own little unit models, which is nice. Look at that guy. They did manage to ally with one other country, but that's kind of too bad. We're going to start our monsters conquest and see what we can do. We can actually ask the mages for a little bit of help with something. For 40 military power, we can ask them to increase the defensiveness of our capital. We only have 1 fort, so it's the only one really worth putting defensiveness on. And the main objective is going to be to siege things, not really fight as much, because we do have a nice military in terms of our mods that we have over here. But we're also Miltech 2 and they are Miltech 3, so they have a bit of a morale advantage. Oh, what do you know? They actually added another troll tag up here. Okay, that must be new. Okay, so maybe there are actually multiple troll tags and my knowledge of the trolls is kind of outdated. Okay, are you fracturing or something? What is this? You've released more subjects that are not at war with me, but I could declare war on them. I don't even know what to make of this. Okay, we'll deal with this first, then we'll see what to do about that. But okay, well, now that this fort is gone, I guess we can go straight over to the ally and try to get them out of the war, because they do have like 9,000 troops. The capital does have like 160% fort defense, so they're just gonna sit there in attrition, I guess. Oh, I see. Okay, so I'm actually not supposed to have declared this war. That's crazy. Changes things a little bit. Okay, yeah, we're gonna declare war on whoever that is too. We'll just be at war with everybody, it's fine. Okay, we're gonna ask for money, war reps, break rivalries for free prestige, I guess. That's fine. Okay, so it looks like they have a bit of a Thunderdome going on here. We have like 2 factions of this civil war, and then they're also fighting me. We can get at least 1 good battle in here, because even if they have better morale, we still have all those additional modifiers, plus, you know, defensive terrain and a good general. I think the civil war has ended and it just led to the independence of these guys over here. Yeah, they're no longer fighting each other, so I should probably try and peace out with Bianrik. This is the most we'll be able to get out of them. They can keep their islands, I guess. I just don't have the galleys to cross over. I think I would actually be able to take everything if I did have enough ships. Like, I would have enough war score to take everything, but I just don't. So we'll take what we can plus a little bit of money. Ooh, actually, that is actually a bad coalition. It's not too bad, but it's bad to deal with while we're still actually at war. So when we take other stuff, it's not going to be a big deal. We just can't deal with a coalition right now. I will demand full annexation from these guys, even if it costs me a little bit of diplo. The aggressive expansion is more than it really should have been, because these guys are technically not a co-belligerent, but there's not much I can do about that. Now that we own that entire region, we can finish off this mission, where we crush the puny bear. Valley men tried to kill us, want us gone, but they fail. Trolls are stronger. Valley men wear bears on shields, but run like tasty rabbits. Leader says we must finish them, take back the land of giants, our land. We tear down huts of wood and stone, grind bones to dust. We get 50 admin, 30 power projection, and some more permaclaims. Oh, there's a region called El Kaisel's Slumber. Wonder if that's a reference to any other recent video. Looks like we already completed the requirements for this mission, just owning enough provinces. We have this central figure that they're speaking about in this mission, the Jötun. If I had to guess, this would be what they call the Titans, or maybe the Giants. The Jötun built the north and then fell into the sea and left the north to us, and then the Valley men came and stole it from us. Now we will depict new stories in our caves about how the trolls took back what was taken from us, and about how we will grind their cities to dust, take their forts, and water this land with the blood of the Valley men. Very in character for trolls. We get 20 prestige, a couple more permaclaims, and the culture and religion of the Bloodfjell area changes to ours. The area also gains devastation, and humans become more oppressed. We cannot fully annex Reverhaven, so we're just going to ask for money and war reps. We'll come back in a couple years and clean this area up. And now that we've fully occupied them, we can grab the last little bit over here. This will prompt the coalition, but it's not as bad this time because at least I'm not fighting like 7 different countries. We can now actually get rivals because we couldn't have done that previously, I don't think. Or maybe I just never set them, and that's really really embarrassing because I could have gotten a lot of power projection. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and sell some titles, take some of that land back. Oh, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe that actually doesn't make it cheaper. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'm wrong about that. We're gonna go ahead and abdicate the throne. The next heir is actually pretty decent, has 1 additional point, and especially has points where I need them. Since we don't really need 6 mil anymore, we are up to date on mil tech. We'll go ahead, sell some titles, take some of that land back. We can use that to pay off our loans. I also might want to build a couple more ships. We have a new heir who kinda sucks. Probably gonna get rid of that guy. Okay, I've literally never seen this before. Hire random general, just 6 fire. That's it. Okay. Our truce with Varheim is over, and we should have enough admin to actually core everything, so we might as well go to war. This doesn't seem too bad. You can get 20 government reform progress after winning a war against a non-monstrous nation. That is every other nation here, for the most part. So at the very least, it'll probably pay for itself. Another heir. Okay. This is a show superiority war, so we have to go ahead and just grab these guys. Although they actually did go ahead and just surrender, which I guess makes sense, because, you know, they have no army left and all the provinces are being occupied. It's not like we can really take this land right now anyway, or rather, I don't think I would want to, because, I mean, I do have claims on it, but they aren't a co-belligerent. That is extra aggressive expansion, which isn't too bad right now, but let's keep that at a minimum for the time being. We'll take war reps, a couple of ducats to help pay off this war, mostly because I don't want a long truce. And, of course, we'll take all of this. We do need to pick up Tech 3 for a mission. It's also a good idea so we don't fall behind and get unbalanced research. Many valley men are under our rule now. Small and weak, but useful. Small hands, good for building, good for mining. Many Drail humans brought to leader's home. Build us great tower under whips and club. Ancient trolls weave magic, give us power to conquer. Men soon learn place. Drail food, nothing more. Trolls are giant blood. Trolls the biggest, strongest. Soon, world will know this too. I really enjoy the way these missions are written. Okay, so we're putting humans under forced labor. Nice. For the next 20 years, our capital gains minus 65% local development cost, which is very nice. Plus it gains an expanded infrastructure modifier, which is not the same as the actual modifier, because this just gives us an additional building, which is then going to be filled by a mage tower for a 1/5 of the cost. Okay, so we get this modifier for the next 20 years. That means we can probably use it to help develop the Renaissance. We are getting some Renaissance per month, but it's really not a lot, unless we feel like waiting 100 years for that to spread. Once that mage tower is done, because it also helps with the development cost, we're going to go ahead and throw a little bit of development into the capital. We do need to complete 2 agendas for the monstrous tribes. That can include the one that we already have, which is to fire our military advisor. They are a little bit expensive, so I might agree with that idea being permanent. Maybe. Anyway, we'll have to wait and pick up another one later on to finish that off. We can also sell some titles, take some of that land back, and I lied, I actually am going to pick up another advisor. In fact, I might even pick up another one. Advisors are like one of the best things you can spend money on, even if you can't really afford them that much. Sometimes you get like events that are nice just from having an advisor. Like sometimes you'll get that event that's like, oh, you can either get a new half-cost level 2 advisor, or you can get 50 points, which might actually just be admin, but anyway. The mage tower is complete in the capital. We're gonna go ahead and, yeah, I guess we have no prosperity, eh? Well, we can put on the encourage development edict, make that a little bit cheaper. On top of that, I will take out like 1 loan. Gonna use that to bump this up to a level 2 to make it slightly cheaper. Then we can drop a couple of points, expand that infrastructure to make it much cheaper. That brings us to 20 development in the capital, which is what we need for this mission at least. But while I have this modifier, since it's not going to last forever, I might just bring that up a little bit higher. I think bringing it to 30 development, expanding the infrastructure one more time. I think after this, we just never touch the province again. Still doesn't have the Renaissance, but at least it'll be faster. Ooh, free stability. How expensive is that? Oh, goodness. Okay, maybe I don't spend anything on stability, actually. Rare instance, probably not gonna bump that up, actually. Now, I did wait a little while before expanding again. Could have done so as soon as the truce was up with Bjarnrik, which was quite a while ago, but because we waited, they lost their alliance with Kalmaldor, or Salmaldor, I don't know. This moon elf country who has, I think, like 4 heavies or something. You look at the distribution of heavy ships and it's just them, that's it. 1 in March. But because we waited, we managed to outlast that alliance. Plus, we're in a much better position to not have to deal with rebels in the middle of a war, so that's kind of nice. In Norvixten, I might as well turn into a co-belligerent because I will take these 3 provinces from them. And I don't know, maybe something else, we'll see. Instant stack wipe, that's what you like to see. You know what I don't like to see? A lot of ships. Hold on a second. Never mind, okay, we've won. For a second there, I was kind of concerned, like, uh-oh, wait a minute. We might get morale memed. But they have no galleys left and we have 6, so it's actually over for them. Good naval battle. We did actually lose 0 ships, surprisingly. I thought we lost at least a couple, but never mind. Kind of a good thing, also kind of a bad thing. Kind of depends. My naval force limit is trying as we speak. 5 professionalism for only 37 crowns. Don't mind if I do. Wait, now that I think about it, what even is the garrison damage modifier? What does that even mean? I think earlier I equated that with the assault fort ability. That's what I thought it meant, but now that I'm taking another look at that, what does that even actually mean? It might be the amount of damage that your garrisons do when you sortie, which is really niche, but I'm gonna check. Okay, apparently I'm right. It is the damage that your garrisons do if there is an assault or you are doing a sortie. So I was completely wrong about that. We should not be assaulting forts. Alright, we have 100% cleared this war. I will be taking this stuff over here, plus money and war reps. Actually, could I take more? I mean, yes, technically. So maybe I'll take this stuff plus their capital, along with the war reps and the money. At that point, it might not even be worth taking the war reps, and I should just take all of this. As for these guys, of course, we'll go with full annexation. I just realized that the aggressive expansion actually doesn't matter at all, and if that's the only thing that was holding us back, then might as well just take it. As you look down here, none of these countries care in the slightest. They are not the same religion, they are not the same culture. In some cases, they're not even the same fantasy race, so they actually don't care. Okay, what do the monstrous tribes want? A larger army? Absolutely, that is super easy. We also have the opportunity to sell a few titles, take some more of that land back. Not much we can really build. I don't think the marketplaces are actually worth it right now. Okay, that's 2 agendas completed. This mission is a little bit different. It is written from the perspective of a chronicler in the far future. It mentions how many of the groups within the tribal federation of Obrtrol would fight for power and not really get all too much done, not really have much power as a centralized government until the threat of Bjarnrik kind of forced that. And as the trolls became more cooperative and centralized in their form of government, it would have big consequences for the rest of Garudia. Consequences we are already seeing. We get 15 government reform progress in 25 years of minus 25% advisor cost. We have also finished off another mission because all you need is 50 ducats for it. Not much to say here, we just need to send out expeditions to find our troll brethren. There are other trolls around here, including this relatively new tag. So all these guys are actually forest trolls. We are the fjord trolls, and we should try to unite troll kind, I guess. So for the next 66 and probably 0.6 of a year, we get a colonist, minus 50% native uprising chance, and plus 50% assimilation. This leaves us with our 2 options, whether or not we want to have a 0% uprising chance, or we can keep a half uprising chance to almost double our baseline settler increase. But who am I really kidding? I'm gonna take the plus 20, I always do. Mercenaries are perfect to garrison the colonies because you need to have them maintained, but you can turn off the rest of your army's maintenance. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. When I first looked at it, because it highlighted these provinces, I thought I needed all of them. But no, you just need to have 1 colony in here. Okay. We have a connection to the forest trolls, we can contact them, maybe strike a deal over repopulating the north. Okay, sure. Forest trolls send their reply. One of the influential figures among the forest trolls is trying to strike a deal with us, where if we give them humans from the land that we conquer as food, then they're willing to share their land with us. We can decline the deal, which gives us minus 10% development cost and minus 30 global settler increase for the next, what is that, 15 years, I think? We do also get a half-cost diplomat and increased tolerance of humans. Or we can just say, sure, have at it, which changes the culture and religion of some provinces, as well as removing the human minorities, which actually might be more useful for us, considering how bad bad our religious unity is and how impossible it is for us to convert anything. So yeah, you can have them, that's fine. Finally, we complete the third part of this little mission path here, simply by having some advisors. We have contacted and expanded our realm towards the forest trolls. Now we can unite the shamans from the small tribes with our own, creating a stable form of worship. We get a conquistador, and we get the troll forebearer teachings tier 2 government reform. It gives us minus 15% cost of advisors with ruler's culture, and plus 20% manpower in true faith provinces, which is actually really good. It is interesting because I'm not sure if that means we're supposed to remain a tribe permanently, or if that gets converted over. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Now that we actually have a colonist, we can go to the monsters tribes and say, hey, do you want to have like more privileges? It does give them 1% crown land every time a colony finishes, which isn't ideal. The increased settler chance and the global settler increase is pretty good. I don't actually care about the assimilation. Oh, I didn't realize we have the northern colonization modifier in these provinces. That might be from a mission, maybe, or perhaps it's because we're the ones colonizing. Maybe this just popped up. But yeah, that is a really good modifier. That means we're getting 132 settlers per year. And I don't know if you know this, but you can go down here and check to see what the colonist itself is contributing. So on average, the colonist is giving us like an additional 140 people per year. So every 4 years, we can pretty much colonize one of these provinces, which is quite nice. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot. I was probably going to get rid of this heir. We definitely do need to pick up this admin tech, because I need that to be able to build a temple in the capital. Sheesh, that is expensive. Why is inflation really that bad? Okay, yeah, it's pretty bad. Doesn't help that the troll administration also makes that worse. Ooh, that is gonna be expensive. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have expanded that much. Well, we'll figure it out. We have restored the capital, though. The same chronicler as in the prior mission now talks about the capital city, Obrtrol, and how prior to the consolidation and centralization of troll power, it wasn't really much of a capital, more like a temporary meeting ground where the seat of a very loose government would be held every now and then. But with the influx of trolls and captured human slave labor, we started building a lot of stone constructions and permanent housing, turning it into something that more resembles an actual city. And for our efforts, we get 2% missionary strength and 15% religious unity for the rest of the game, plus a little bit of additional tax. Now that's an heir I can get behind. With our third reform, the choice kinda matters. I'm probably going to go with this one because I do plan to demonsterize. We don't have to. I mean, technically you could play an entire game without demonsterizing. Some people do because it does give you some decent benefits. But I think it would be funnier to turn the trolls into like a respected civilization. And this will make it a little bit easier because usually when you demonsterize, you lose a lot of stability over the course of the whole thing. We do also get the tech cost reduction, which is cool. This one would speed up the demonsterization process and give you reform progress. And this one just gives you some free bonuses for conquering stuff. Pretty important in our mission tree that we go ahead and grab this province and actually just the general area around here. And since Vangheim and Skalskola are allied to one another, I might as well declare war on Vangheim for monstrous conquest and just belligerent these guys. Since I'm not going to have the money to embrace this institution for quite some time, I'm probably just going to take this. Another stability, same thing, probably not going to bump it up. Oh yeah, I don't think I mentioned actually that Vangheim is a harpy country. They're like one of the new ones, I think. And by new, I mean one of the ones that was added in like the last 3 years. Maybe they'll get a mission tree one day. Who knows? Anyway, full annexation. Let's go ahead and maybe... Really should have sold titles before that, actually. Oh well. Can sell titles, wait a day, get a little bit of that crown land back from conquering, then see some land back. Now we have 510 ducats, which means we can take out like 2, maybe 3 loans? Maybe 3 loans. And we can embrace the institution, which is very expensive. Probably could have just not taken that mill tech and waited, but oh well. And we're a great power, 1475 troll great power, number 5 at that. Isn't that beautiful? Having finished our core in Skaldol, we can finish off this mission. It is an excerpt from a handwritten poem in an early copy of the Yartal Agifa, the Book of Runes, author unknown. Might as well give it a whole read. Long years have passed since Father's end, stone long worn and blades long fallen. No longer are the forge is lit or stone is rend, and to the mother's chosen heirs misfortune has befallen. We heirs were handed down a sacred task. Now our people pursue their duty endlessly, for the words of the Jotun only ask for blood their greatest legacy. Now we swear the oath thrice to unlock secrets of far ice. For the next 30 years, we get all power cost reduction minus 5% and minus 10% idea cost. At this point, we do only have one province that we actually need to conquer for quite some time, so we'll go ahead and just get that out of the way. But after that, we're kind of sitting in relative peace as far as our mission tree goes. All that's left for us to do is to conquer Giants Manse. We will also have to fight Cold Market, but we won't turn them into a co-belligerent. We'll just try and take like one province maybe. We'll go ahead and insult March as well. Get a whole lot of power projection out of that because of our bonus. We do have the chance to get the next idea group. Now, normally at this point, it's really early game, so usually I would take like a military idea group. I save that admin and diplo power for expanding, but we have a bit of a unique situation with the trolls because our military is actually fine in the early game. In fact, it's stronger than most nations. Even though we have a smaller force limit, we hit a lot harder. 25% additional shock damage, receiving minus 20% shock damage, minus 10% fire damage. I really don't think we need a stronger military. The economy could be better, but it's actually really easy to have a good economy. That's why I never take economic ideas. So I'm gonna do something a little unusual that I don't often do, and that is take innovative ideas. The reason for that is because one of the biggest issues we have as trolls, especially in the early game, is that we do have that plus 10% tech cost, and that's permanent. We can't do anything about that. So at the very least, by using innovative ideas, we can completely negate that tech cost penalty. It also helps counteract our plus 30% institution embracement cost penalty, and that helps us spread it faster, which helps to counteract that even further. The advisor cost at the end is of course really nice as well, kind of stacks well with our minus 15% from this, plus our minus 15% from this reform. Whether or not we keep that, I don't know, we'll find out. Anyway, we did just 100% these guys. I think I will probably ask for like one province here. Really don't want too much aggressive expansion. Actually, can I take the capital? It's risky, but I don't plan to expand too much in this area after this, not for a pretty considerable period of time. And I have like no aggressive expansion in this area right now. So that being said, it wouldn't be the worst idea. It does give me a bit of a head start on the trade that I'm going to need for a particular mission. So it might be a decent idea unless Gawed kills me. But surely that wouldn't happen, right? Then, of course, we take the last province that we need. We've taken Olavslund. We've broken the Valleymen, but there are more behind the mountains. We will crush them, drive them from the north once and for all. I mean, we've kind of done that already. We get a half-cost Inquisitor, very useful for us. We also get some permaclaims on some areas that I probably could have used to make taking them cheaper, but oh well. We get 20 prestige, good stuff. Actually gonna hire that guy right now. And we can upgrade our government rank, which is perfect, actually. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That gives us more governing capacity to work with. We do have at least 12 galleys, so we have finished this mission as well. In the ancient paths, the Jotun, which I think is the giants, were cast into the seas and devoured by the depths. So the trolls, I think we call ourselves the Yartal Agefa, were afraid of the same fate, but we started to build ships, so it's not as big of a deal as it once was, even if many of those ships have ended up getting lost and crushed in the cold sea. We get boats covered in oil for 15 years, giving us increased morale of navies and galley combat ability, as well as a bunch of permanent claims. It's actually interesting some of the things we get claims on. We get the Serpent's Head, of course, which is up here. In fact, I think some of those claims are on provinces that we can't actually see yet. And considering this is a timed modifier that we can't really use for the time being, I'm probably going to hold on to this. Okay, we can sell some titles, take some land back. It is going to be a little bit more expensive because we do not have enough crown land to mitigate these issues, but I think we can solve that soon. I'm going to make a little investment in this admin advisor because they're super cheap. I'm going to bring them up to level 3 to get as much admin as possible while they are still available. We have cored Giants Manse and therefore reclaimed the home of the giants. We have another excerpt from the same chronicler as 2 of the previous missions. They give us confirmation that the far north was in fact the home of the giants, if there was any confusion about whether or not they were actually real or like just an ancient legitimizing legend. Since the fjord trolls believe that they are the direct descendants of these giants, they believe they have an ancestral right to the sorts of holdings that the giants had. In particular, the most important one, Giants Manse, which was considered the last giant city and considered the most sacred place to the trolls. As our reward, we get 30 prestige, a permanent claim on the Drowned Giant Isles, this province down here, and for the next 50 years, we get minus 25% culture conversion cost. Now, we can't actually use most of these things right now. It might be relegated to the same category as this mission here, where I will eventually use it once I have like less prestige, just to get the extra 30. Outside of that, not the most useful modifiers to have currently, so we can sit on them for a little bit. We do have enough Diplo that we might as well embrace a few cultures at this point. Mostly I've been focusing on keeping tech parity, making sure we don't fall too far behind and stuff like that. But it's not that expensive, we might as well. Could actually use the money right now, might as well go ahead and sell some titles, get some of that ground land back. We can use that to repay all of our loans. Now that we have converted this one province, it actually gives us access to a second one of our legacies. This one is going to be the missionary strength one. I figured at this point we would probably need it, which is why I took the core creation cost first and waited until I had things to actually convert before taking this one. Now we can actually start converting things. We do have some other missions to take care of, for example, developing these provinces to have 5 production. Essentially, we're just setting the humans to work in the mines to extract iron and copper for us. Since trolls have never had to go mining, they figure, why not just use humans? One of those provinces now produces iron, the other one copper. They both get additional manpower, plus 20% increased local production efficiency and goods produced in both of those, plus the capital, which is actually going to be huge for us considering how much production dev we have in here. We can peacefully vassalize these guys, might as well, since they are the only country we would ever be able to actually integrate. We've had kind of a weird series of events, because originally I was going to attack March to do a little bit of humiliation, get some money out of them as well, but it turns out Gawed just got their butts kicked by Laurent, leaving them with no manpower and 10,000 people. So next month I'm going to pick up Tech 7, which will be a better tech than they have, and I'm going to walk in there, probably not even going to ask for much, might even do a humiliate CB. Can you imagine? No, I'm just kidding. I will steal some maps of the Hellenic frontier so I can see what's going on here. I did manage to pick up like one ally in that time. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Oh, this is perfect. Hold on. Inland Sea, you do have 2 heavies where I have 1, but I have 12 galleys. You have 4. So I think it'll be fine. And they just marched, well, their entire army across into these islands. So as long as we win the naval battle, this army is now completely trapped. We have grabbed 1 siege. Hopefully it'll hold for a little while because we're going to have to go back and not just deal with this army, but also some separatists along the way. I think we can actually avoid the crossing penalty by having more maneuver. So they have 3, we have 4. I think this works this way. So pretty easy battle and an easy stack wipe. Just have to make sure that they don't quickly take this back while we're busy dealing with rebels. Kind of a pain having to do everything with literally just 6 transport ships. Been very carefully going back and forth between these 2 provinces to rack up a whole bunch of battle war score. It's working because we're at 40 and I think that's the maximum you can have from battles. Maybe. Might be 50, I don't actually remember. Either way, it's working out because that's giving us our taking war score, and because we've taken a fort, that means we can take whatever land we want in this peace deal. And I have to say, we are absolutely crushing it in this war, to the point where the only limiting factor actually is when I have to go back and deal with rebels. So I keep on wiping waves upon waves of enemies, but I will eventually have to go back and deal with these. If you're wondering how this is possible, like why is the AI not reinforcing this? It's mostly a combination of 2 things. 1, death stacking, and 2, using Scorched Earth. It makes the AI think like, oh no, these guys are gonna die before we get there, so it's not even worth reinforcing. Now, I don't think that's actually true. I think they would kick my butt if they have the opportunity to send all these troops in, but they don't think they can, and that's what matters. Also, the great thing about having this province is that we do a full speed reinforcement each month. I don't know how to showcase that. Here we go. 3,500 people will reinforce into the army, but if we step into here, it goes down to 3,173, so you can see that like the reinforce rate increases. We have worn down the alliance enough that we can get BPAC out for free. This is kind of necessary. I'm not making that much actual progress, even though, yeah, a lot of troops have died on both sides. Not Not a big deal for us because we recover manpower pretty quickly, but ultimately this kinda can't keep going on the way it is. So those guys can leave. They do have a lot of troops. Willair, same thing. Port Dam's annoying because they have a fierce negotiator. I always hate having to deal with that. Another free stability, don't mind if I do. And we can pick up the final innovative idea, which makes our techs cheaper. Not our techs, our advisors. Although in a sense, kind of the same thing. So, Gawed, this took a long time. 7 years and about 200,000 casualties. Nice. So I'm gonna take about 1,000 ducats, war reps, of course. So I'm going to take max money, humiliate, war reps, and a couple of provinces. Well, there goes the last king. We have a new one who really isn't too bad. The 235 is manageable. We can get an enormous boost of money by selling some titles. We can use that to expand a couple of our trade centers. Here comes the usual Prospering Times event. Surprise didn't pop up in a glacier. Usually it does that. In an unusual move, I'll actually go with tax this time, mostly for the admin power. We do have our next reform. We're going to go with this controlled aggressiveness, plus 15% movement speed, which will actually give us a total of plus 45%. And the additional land leader shock is pretty nice. Another pretty solid heir, very nice. We are pretty significantly behind in admin tech. That's to be expected, having completed innovative ideas. It does make taking the tech significantly cheaper. By building some workshops in these provinces, we can actually set up our mammoth industry. I don't think I mentioned this, but our cavalry are mammoths, and they do have unit models. Pretty cool. We get another excerpt, this time in a different book from a different historian. If it weren't for us, it's entirely possible that the mammoths would have been hunted to extinction. But fortunately, because we need them as steeds, both of those provinces gain an additional 2 base production. They will change their religion and culture for free, and they will get counting houses. It may also decrease the tolerance of humans, but don't worry about that. We can pick up the next tech real quick. Only 300 admin, not bad. Although I'm not actually sure what I want to have as the idea group. Looking at the way things are, military and diplo points kind of serve the same purpose for us because we can't really integrate subjects, not at least while we're still monstrous. So we might pick up a military idea group. Not because we need it or the military power, but instead because I think I would prefer to develop with Diplo. And at the very least, if we take offensive ideas, which, come on, you know me by now, I'm taking offensive ideas, then we will get an additional 10% siege ability and +1 leader siege, which is actually the one thing we're missing from our military. I guess the force limit modifier kinda counts too. Anyway, we are going to go to war again, mostly because I need to invade these guys for their trade centers. I will start the demonsterization process. It does kind of take a while, and if it's necessary in our tree later down the line, then better to get started sooner rather than later. I keep forgetting that they have 4 heavies. Okay, we're not fighting them. That's too bad. Oh, you're at war with me. I don't remember this being a thing that was gonna happen. Wait a second. You're allied with Voron March. Wow, that's crazy. You know, somehow I didn't notice this. Okay. Now we can deal with that. Okay, I am going to go ahead and sell some titles quickly. Pretty easy to kick Gold Market out. I just don't care that much. Funny name though, pretty literal. I do have ownership, technically, of all of the provinces in this node, which allows us to finish this mission off. This excerpt is about the opening of the first market in the north. Most considered the idea laughable because they all thought trolls to be nothing but barbarians that destroyed everything they touched, and it was in fact difficult to try and get merchants to visit the market. Anyone who still sailed north tried to avoid getting too close to the coasts. But one day, a particularly shrewd troll found a couple of dwarves living alongside the coast, and instead of executing them, struck a deal with them to be middlemen to do trade with, and that apparently was the start of everything. So in our province over here, Reverhaven, ivory will be produced, it will be renamed, and its culture and religion will change. It will get +3 local goods produced and +2 production. I preemptively finished another mission by developing this province over here. After opening the market, the trolls realized that even though they've never had a use for gold, it seems that the humans like it, so at the very least they can start opening a couple of mines. After all, it seems the humans aren't very interested in trading with bones the same way that the trolls are. And an added little bonus is that we're using humans to extract gold anyway, so it's basically free money. This province over here will swap from ivory to gold, and it gets an additional 2 manpower. That is a lot of money off of gold, more than you would ever actually expect. Ah, I see. We're getting additional goods produced from the assimilated natives, and we have goods produced efficiency from the prosperity, but that might disappear. This mission was pretty easy, just a little bit of development developing. The Jotun, or giants, have left us many old gifts. One of these gifts, one of the massive forges in Urviksten, was usurped by the humans, so we need to take that gift back, and now that we have it, we can start using it again. We get the giant forge, giving us minus 125% local recruitment time and minus 33% local regiment cost in this province, which means that for this one province, and only this one province, we have a reasonable recruitment time. Well, that's a full army wipe of March and Kalmaldor. I would love to end the war right now, but unfortunately I do need to occupy all of their trade centers. Well, maybe not all of them, but a few of them. Now that I think about it, it might be worth it to just grab that one province I need. Maybe. Yeah, why not? Does waste a little bit of prestige, but that's kind of fine. Yeah, we have now occupied enough to finish this mission off. This one is pretty funny. So, it turns out that the trolls, of course, are naturally adapted to the cold. So they don't need to wear clothing or anything. I guess maybe they do at some point. We can see in some of these that they do appear to be wearing some clothing. But anyway, the trolls don't really need to wear clothes, so they don't really need to use the furs from the animals that they eat. So they consider the furs that they collect to be nothing but scraps, pretty much worthless, just the stuff they can't really use. They don't have anywhere for it, so they shove it into a big pile in the market, just for storage while they figure out what they can do with it. Eventually, human traders come by, they see all these furs, and the trolls don't understand why, but the humans want to buy them. The trolls keep trying to convince the humans that they're completely useless. There's no reason to want to buy these, but the humans keep raising the price because they think that the trolls are playing hardball. To the trolls, the humans seem stupid, but at least they can make a whole lot of money, so let's start selling furs. In practice, this gives us trade efficiency and ship trade power for the rest of the game. It also means we can peace out with March. We'll just take the one province we have a claim on, a whole bunch of money, and war reps, of course, and then we'll fully annex these guys. We have also managed to finish another standalone mission up here. I'm sure you get the idea. We're eating elves. It gives us a 20-year modifier of -1 national unrest and plus 10% manpower recovery speed. Probably best if we're about to go into a big war, so I'm not going to press it yet. Another free stability. Well, if I take that right now, it's going to be 30% more expensive because of the overextension. Or I could take this right now and then get an additional stability later because we get -20% for 6 years, which would make the next one also cost 30% more, actually. Okay, I'll bump it up once. Wait, what? Troll under the bridge, but that's us. I guess in troll society, this is just like a homeless guy. Like... Okay, well, we don't need to increase tolerance of our primary race. Doesn't actually do anything. We'll just take the top option. Okay, we do need to develop the institution. It has been like 16 years, and I don't even know where this is. Port Jurith. They're probably over here. It's gonna take a while for it to spread to us, because nobody likes us. So we might as well get started. It's gonna be this province because it is a farmlands, also 13 development. One of those good numbers. Just before the Age of Monsters ends, we're going to sell some titles, take some of that crown land back. And actually, before I set down another colony, we're missing the Renaissance in literally one province. And the way that I'm going to fix that is by just very slightly developing it. Oh, what do you know? A third stability. There we go. The Renaissance is present in all of our provinces, which means with 2 months remaining in this age, we can start our golden era. There's colonialism in this province. It will have to spread a little bit before it can be embraced, but I think there was a good reason to spread it in the south, because there's a lot more development down there. We only really have like 1 or 2 things that need to be done. Just need to develop this province a little bit, bring that up to 15 so we can expand infrastructure and then build a temple. Really sucks because this province is glacial for some reason. I don't actually know why. I think it's the only glacial province at this latitude. Like, look at these all the way up here. These are the glaciers. I don't know why this is glacial, but that makes it really bad for developing because that's plus 50. Now that we've finished the temple, we can actually complete the next 3 missions. We have many stories of the great ice cities that the giants built, and how the greatest fortress of them all was pretty much unbreakable. In the spires that touched the sky where it lay, great kings sat. But since the giants have long been gone, the fortress has crumbled into the earth, with its halls now empty. But now we've taken back the fortress, and we can restore it to its former glory. We get a free culture conversion in the province, as well as additional tax, production, and manpower. We already completed these requirements a long time ago when I developed the capital to 30 development. For too long, the other races have looked at trolls with disgust and pity. They say we stupid, animals, beasts. They look at us the same way we look at them, worthless, weak, and cowering. No more. We are the Jotun's blood, kin of giant, and with conquest we have taken back their knowledge. The magics of old soon flare again in the capital. We will have their ancient strength, and the world will fear us as they fear the stories of the Jotun. We shall be true heirs of giants, true kings of North, and men shall tremble as we call ice winds down upon their cities. We get 100 points in each category. The Giants Mance gets towers reclaimed for the rest of the game, giving it plus 30% tax, plus 0.5 yearly prestige, 25% defensiveness, and 50% hostile disembark time. Our capital gets Runic Ward until the end of the game, giving it plus 25% local manpower modifier, plus 30% defensiveness, and minus 10% hostile movement speed. And finally, we seize Gerud's legacy. We've seized many of the holy sites of the Jotun, and we have repaired the ruins and amplified their power with the knowledge gleaned from the Skald's library. Now we will continue the legacy of the great giants of old Ymir, Pranmas, and Gerud. Gerudagot. We get a permanent claim to the Gerudia subcontinent. We become a new tag, Gerudagot. We of course obtain new missions alongside it. We get 25 prestige, and we become a monarchy with the Northern Custodians government reform. It reduces the construction cost, increases the land force limit modifier, gives us minus 20% fort maintenance, minus 10% province war score cost, plus 25% garrison size, minus 10% institution spread, and 100 governing capacity. On top of that, we also gain new traditions and ambitions, which we will accept, because of course in Anbennar, they're almost always better. And this does not seem to be any different. They are quite good. We start with land leader shock and discipline, 15% fort defense plus 1 attrition for enemies, global trade power, cavalry cost, production efficiency, 15% morale of armies, minus 20% stability cost, minus 10% fire damage received. Remember, that stacks with us being trolls, so we already get minus 10%. Then minus 2 national unrest, and finally minus 15% core creation cost. We should probably try to figure out, here we go. We do get our troll forebearer teachings, very nice, I do want to keep this. We can go with decentralized bureaucracy, and actually I might wait 1 month, or 1 day, because we get our estates. That means we can hand out our point privileges finally. We can curtail the clerical privileges, just until I have religious ideas. I guess we get to finish this mission again, cool. 300 crowns and eat. I think that's where we're going to end things off for today. It is a nice and natural stopping point. We are doing quite well. We are, you know, the 4th great power. Although if I embrace the institution, I will end up being the 3rd great power. We make a pretty considerable amount of money, and we have a lot of missions to get through still. So if you want to see a part 2 to this, and I don't know, I might split it into like a part 2 and a part 3, it kind of depends on how long the mission tree is. I'm reconsidering whether I want to keep on making these like 2 parts each. But anyway, if you want to see this series ultimately finished, then I'm gonna have to ask for, I'm gonna say like 4,000 likes within, I don't know, 2 months of when this finishes. The main point is, I don't want to wait until the next update is out and then it reaches 4,000 likes. I think the save game is just incompatible at that point. I will probably have a more sure timeline in the comments, so make sure to read the pinned comment. There will probably be one. Either way, some number of likes will need to be reached, so you should probably like the video. And if you've been here for a long time, or if you're new here and you just feel a little generous today, I am looking to try and get to 75,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be kind of cool. So if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe. For now though, this is Corbin signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day. I'd like to give a big shout out to all the patrons for this month, who not only helped make this channel possible, but also receive early access on all videos for as low as $1. In particular, I'd like to give a big shout out to the people who choose to donate more than that, including Erica, Baby Cow, Born to Dunk, The Quebecer, Nick Steffel, Q-Brute, A.G. Forero, Ben Mottram, Quiet Guy, Rosset, Torvald, Ambient Cyan, James Levy, Luke78776, Stalin DLRP, and Robert.